Hello, this is our final project for Group 3, Brittany and Alexander. The lesson chosen to improve is an elementary physical education class overhead throwing unit. This unit will be taught to kindergartners and first graders. The students in these classes have a variety of athletic abilities. Some classes have students with individualized educational plans. These students received individualized accommodations and modifications depending upon the activity. The elementary physical education classroom has limited access to technology. The classroom has access to 8 iPads about once per month. The iPads all have protective cases, and they also have the Arisma app downloaded onto them. The lesson chosen to improve upon was a physical education overhead throwing unit. Prior to the improvements being made, the physical education teacher would model the steps of the overhead throw, then have students model for their peers. The physical education teacher would provide the students with practice of overhead throwing while giving corrective feedback, prompts, and assistance as needed. Students would get practice in a line with cues being said by their physical education teacher. Cue words and stick figures would have been drawn on the whiteboard for examples. Throwing-focused activities would accumulate throwing skill at the end of each class and continue for about 1 week before becoming a refresher activity. The improvements made were a visual poster that was created for the gym with cues and steps needed for an overhead throw. The poster will be displayed on the movement wall with other movement examples. The addition of the overhead throwing poster will help students have a visual to help them remember the steps of an overhead throw. The visuals will help students who struggle with remembering and sequencing steps successfully and correctly. The poster will also help those students who are nervous to participate in physical education class because they are unsure of their abilities or the correct steps. With the overhead throwing poster, these students will have an example and guide to help them when they are feeling unsure. To allow for quick reference, students will get to use the iPads and the Arisma app to display videos. The Arisma app by HP is used to integrate videos onto the poster utilizing augmented reality. With the use of the Arisma app, the app uses the camera to sense triggers on the poster that link to assigned videos. The best way to explain this is by looking at the poster as if it were a barcode, and instead of price showing, a video is displayed on the screen over the poster. When the Arisma app is on and the camera is pointed at the poster, a demonstration video will be shown over the poster. This basic AR app creates a quick video connection to cues so students can better understand the steps. Here is what the students will see on their iPad while using the Arisma app. The Arisma app can be downloaded for iOS, Android, and more information can be found on their website. To make improvements to the overhead throw visuals, several technologies were utilized. In addition to the Arisma app, Apple Pages templates, Keynotes, and iMovie were used to help create content that would give students an example. Apple Pages were used for the poster template. Keynote was used for the beginning poster picture of throwing video. iMovie was used to combine Keynote picture with video of throwing, give smooth transitions throughout the video, and also allowed for text to be displayed. The Apple software products allowed for easy use in creating and editing visuals. This unit aligns with Illinois State Board of Education Physical Education and Health Learning Standards. The standards addressed through this unit are demonstrate control when performing fundamental locomotor, non-locomotor, and manipulative skills, and understand how to execute basic movement patterns. The ISBE website states, performance of physical activities involves competency in a wide range of motor, non-motor, and manipulative skills. Learning in this area is developmental, building simple movements into more complex patterns. These standards are addressed in the overhead throw practice and activities. They are also Another standard addressed throughout this unit is follow directions and class procedures while participating in physical activities. ISBE's website states, knowing how to follow procedures, accept leadership from others, participate actively, and lead when appropriate will serve the student on and off the playing field. Students need to know the elements of teamwork, communication, decision-making, cooperation, leadership, and how to adjust individual needs to team needs. This standard is addressed through general rules followed and skills performed safely and correctly. The visual improvements made to this lesson are that the overhand throwing poster was created using real pictures for each of the steps. Using the real pictures of the student's physical education teacher helps the students have a connection with and interest in the poster. The size of the images are all the same, showing that each step is equally important. The pictures are in a storyboard sequence. The use of a storyboard to connect the steps within the larger motion. Moline stated that storyboards are ideal for giving instructions no matter what language the user might speak. Color was added to increase visual interest. Large block lettering was used to emphasize the cues for each step. Moline stated that the mood and even the meaning of a poster can change depending which font you use. The font used in this poster is bold and large in indicating to the students that it is important to remember. Space was also left on the poster to reduce clutter and make the poster easy to read. With the space provided, it makes the poster easy to follow. For this unit, a two-part assessment will be utilized. The first part of the assessment will be evaluated using the rubric shown. The students will be recorded doing their overhead throw using an iPad. The students will then use the rubric and their video to evaluate themselves. They will mark if they did each of the overhead throwing steps in their video. Then the physical education teacher will use the same rubric and student video to evaluate the student on the steps of overhead throwing. After scoring, students will compare total score to what they think they did correctly in the movement, allowing for better understanding of the overhead throw corrections. The second part of the assessment will be that the students will put the pictures of the overhead throwing steps in correct order. Students will use a set of picture cards that contain steps. Students will need to put those cards in order of the overhead throw. This will show comprehensions of the steps to successful overhead throw. Adaptations will be made for the age level of the students. Younger students taking the assessment will only be given the correct step needed to sequence, whereas the older students taking this assessment will be given the correct step as well as some additional non-related steps. This adaptation will not only assess their comprehension of the overhead throwing steps, but also their ability to determine important information from non-important information, which is a skill that they are working on for reading in their general education classes. These are a few of the references and resources that we utilized to create this presentation.